I always tell this story in terms of my first start in business. And my first start from a transactional standpoint, I was about 7 years old. My father had gotten a bunch of pins for the 96 Olympics. And at the time, just said, hey, listen, I need you to go out and sell these. We have a contest. Just go out there and sell these. They were $12, and my father had agreed to pay me $2 per sale. And at the time, he's just going out there and really starting to do that transaction business and not being afraid to knock on anybody's door was an exhilarating feeling as a young kid.
Right.
And then certainly making my own executive decisions moving forward. Eventually, I realized that hey, if they're buying from me a $12 pin as from a kid, they'll pay any price.
Right.
So I would jack it up to $15, and from there, I would make $2 off my father and $3 off them. So $5 per sale as a young kid. We certainly didn't have any money growing up. That was really fun.
That was nice play money in the pocket.
Yes,
for sure.
Certainly.
So what was your first foray into entrepreneurship?
So my first official business was Life and Chi, and I started it when I was 19 years old. And actually the backstory of that was my grandfather had developed pancreatic cancer. And from there, they basically gave him a death bill. In the interest of alternative medicine, my grandfather had never really been in alternative medicine, never really done it, but started using it as a therapeutic in advance to chemo and radiation therapy, and saw tremendous results. And from there, I saw the unique opportunity to really bring that to the States because there was at this point lack of alternative medicine. So the first business we would run seminars where we fly these Qigong masters from China over here, and then eventually worked on products and videos and licensing and all that sort. We worked with a lot of terminally ill individuals. Some of them saw tremendous results, some of them didn't, but it was a great touch it was one, selling the idea, selling the concept, and really building the business from there.
And there's a lot of conversation right now about that strategy and treatment versus chemical. So, it's a really big hot topic right now.
Absolutely.
And you were how old when you
I was 19 years old.
Wow, right.
So, 19 years old.
So at this point, you're a veteran startup entrepreneur.
Yeah, I have enough entrepreneurial gray hairs beneath this hair right now. So,
so what came after that? What did that evolve into?
What evolved into that? So I ran that for several years, and eventually we ended up getting stifled by the visas issues. So we couldn't get these masters over here, so our primary profit center was sort of gone after that. And did a brief stint into wealth management, just given my investment background, given people's what I've always done, and that natural taste for money as well, to some extent.
Right.
And that was a fun test in grit, and purely just the aspect of selling a product really that people don't want. Which is a very unique case of things, certainly. But that helped me develop sales processes and really start being able to translate that into my future sales teams and all that sort as well. Lost taste of that, went back into entrepreneurship, started a number of companies, had one success, and really have been, I wouldn't say living the dream, because it's somewhat of a nightmare as well, but enjoying the process and enjoying the roller coaster.
Right. Well, and we were chatting earlier before we started about how entrepreneurs work so much.
Yeah.
Right? What do you say? We work 80 hours a week to not work 40 hours
exactly.
a week. But, the whole point was if you love what you do, it's not work.
Yeah. It's the freedom, it's the autonomy to really make our own decisions that I think is what entrepreneurs truly value, is I grasp my destiny, I make my own destiny. And, the optimistic outlook of that, I think, is, I come from an immigrant family. We came over here from China, and at that time, if you think about it, we were trying to live the American dream. We had the opportunity to do that, and so many countries don't necessarily have those circumstances. But an entrepreneur truly envisions that mindset, I would say. So,
do you think that your background has made a difference, maybe in comparison to people who are not immigrants into this country, on how you approach business or the chances and risks that you take?
Absolutely. On two fronts. One, I would say my background having the Chinese connection has, one of my greatest mentors, my uncle, uses the aspect of always finding your value proposition. So finding your differentiator, and it's important. I find that within my businesses. I find that within my own personal self, my own personal brand as a entrepreneur, investor, community leader, whatever it might be. What I bring to the table has to be different and valuable. That I think is always pounded into me. So the U.S.-Chinese connection will always exist in pretty much all of my businesses to some extent. And then outside of that, the aspect of legacy is very important. The family values, what my parents have done to sacrifice to get me to the United States. There's no way I could ever settle for anything less than significant because of that. So, every person needs that altruistic motivation, that driver that pushes them on a daily basis, especially entrepreneurs.
Right.
And some people it's giving back, some people it's this. If you look at the kind of the Abraham Maslow pyramid hierarchy of needs aspect, I've never been hungry. I've never had that issue. And Daniel Pink talks about the motivation 2.0. Well, I've never had to fight for food, so I need to find a different motivator. And for me, it's my family legacy. It's our family name. It's where we come from. It's what we do. So that, to me, I think separates me a little bit from the pack.
And I think too that, and I'm distant. My relatives lived on the plains in a mud hut in Kansas.
Sure.
And they did it obviously for me. And so I think that sometimes when you get far enough away from that you forget, what they sacrificed for you, and we start to settle a little bit.
Sure.
And I think that, obviously being an entrepreneur, it's made a huge difference for you. I mean, do you think about how it's different compared to maybe other startups and entrepreneurs?
The difference, one, I think, is from an intensity standpoint. Having something of absolute purpose, not only for myself, but also for my companies, really gears up the intensity a little bit more. If you think about it, parents are willing to do so much for their children. I'm willing to do so much for my parents and for that family legacy and what that means. So that gears it up a little bit. And then certainly the U.S.-China connection changes things from a value proposition. I'm able to get what others can't get.
Yeah.
I'm able to access what others can't access. And that, given how long I've done business in that area, and given my family connections, and given all the resources that I have available to me, gives me a whole different playing field and a whole different vision that even the most experienced business guys don't have what I have in some cases.